gosh. My body's frozen. Not gonna lie. Okay. Any boogers?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay.
Hey guys, I'm Megan.
And I'm Stephanie. And we are
Barn Besties
with Farm Fresh advice for you. So we are here to impart the knowledge that we have learned over the years of building and running barns so that you guys don't have to have the problems and the misery and the mistakes that we made. Hope you enjoy our videos. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, right?
Right, and we hope to save you time and money on your new adventures.
Absolutely.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Barn Besties. I am your barn bestie, Miss Stephanie, and I am here in Megan's barn today while she is in California. It's February. Miss Megan is on location in California. I am interviewing one of her instructors. This is Miss Charlotte, who has graciously put up with me for 3 parts prior to this, and this is part 4, probably our in-game part. Yeah, so if you've missed those, please do check out part 1, 2, and 3. They're fascinating, really interesting. So we're going to make this our final part to this because you have lessons to teach, but I kind of want to go in on that. So you arrived at Lindinhof, and we've kind of talked on a broad scale, but tell me how this works here, because I think you've mentioned you've taught at many other barns. So let's go back to one of the Wisconsin hunter jumper places that you've taught at. How were you scheduled? Were the students contacting you to schedule your schedule? Was there the owner of the barn or the main trainer, the person in charge of the schedule? Tell me how that happened at a different place, and then let's talk about how that works here.
So at that barn, I was a subcontractor, so I had to carry my own liability insurance. So, but they had online scheduling. So it was, I was a option, right? So people could
fancy, kind of at a doctors or something.
Exactly.
You go online
or a salon, right?
Yeah.
You're I want Charlotte to cut my hair today.
Wow,
Instead it was I'm going to ride with Charlotte. So I would put in my availability for the week, and then people, and there was a little blurb on there about what my background was, what I kind of specialized in, and then people could then ride with me. And the facility owners also would do some of the scheduling or internal tweaking of the schedule. And so it was sort of, yeah, it was a lot. And I also had students that would kind of talk to me too. So it was sort of, that had its challenges in that they're just with communication, right? Because there was just a lot of hands in the pot.
Right.
And then also as a subcontractor too, I was sort of this outside person, using their facility. So
their horses, their barn.
Yeah, I didn't have any skin in the game really. I didn't have my own lesson horse and my own tack. So I was using their stuff, but coming in as so that was challenging. It was a learning experience for sure.
Did they have you set up your schedule for a month so that they could kind of go, okay, this is the times Charlotte's available, and these are the horses we have available to her, but they're only available on these. That had to have been a lot of meshing.
It was a lot. Yeah, it was a lot of.
Or did they say, here's when we have availability for you to potentially fill in slots, and then you could say, yes, I can do these times, but no, I can't do these? I mean,
I kind of set my schedule, and then we just kind of worked with that what was available.
Okay. I mean, either the chicken or the egg's got to come first,
right.
And it sounds complex for sure.
It was complex, and it's sort of and as I started doing kids camp here and my business is growing, I started scaling back from that because it was a lot, and they also had a lot of other instructors, so it's just really busy, and so just sort of stepping back from that more and more. I like how Megan here does all of the scheduling, and so, which is nice. And well, I don't know if it's nice for Megan, but
it's a lot of work for her.
It's a lot of work for Megan. I don't know
She's
how
got
she
experience.
does
it. She knows she has her method, and she knows however she does it.
She does it, and she does it wonderfully.
Got it figured out.
She does a great job, and so it's nice because I tell her when I can be here. Based around what else is going on in my life, and I do have a set, so I'm here every Thursday, Friday, Sunday, Monday.
So you try to keep your schedule set.
Yeah, it's that. Well, because that just makes everything easier, and it's I can be here from 10 to 7 or whatever my days are. And then she fills in the schedule, and she talks to students. I don't talk to any of them, which is great. I don't want to have, that just keeps everything nice and separate.
Yeah.
She does all the communicating, all the scheduling, all of that. And then she just sends me the schedule. I pick the horses, or depending on who's available, like, because I obviously know my students a little better because I'm the one that's teaching with them. So I help kind of be like, okay, so-and-so is going to ride this
you match
horse
them
today, match them with what's going to be a good fit. But Megan and I work together on that too. Cause and then she just confirms and that's it. So
nice.
that's
that's
really
gotta be
nice.
a load off. I think that's a great way to do it. So, what are your duties then when you come in? Like, do you just walk in and teach, or?
No, more than that. I bring in all the horses that I need for the day. So I usually try to get here like an hour to 45 minutes before the start of my first lesson, and start bringing everyone in.
We're probably pushing into your time.
It's gonna be a little tight today. That's okay. I didn't work out that much this weekend, so I'll run out there and bring them in. Make sure the horses have hay and water. If I have downtime before my lesson starts, I usually will like rake, tidy up the barn, make sure tack buckets are filled with clean water for cleaning tack, and the heaters are on. All of that sort of day to day. And then, depending, some of my students, my adult students, they can tack up on their own. So that gives me more time to do some of those little like housekeeping things before the lesson starts. But if I have a new person, then I will so usually then I help them.
Let's talk about a new person. How do you introduce them to the whole experience here? So what's like the first couple of lessons like?
So with new people, it starts off by just, getting introduced to them. I always give them a tour, so they can get orientated, where they know where everything is. I kind of give them a little spiel on my background, Megan, and what we're doing, what we do here, and then try to get to know a little bit about the student, because I usually don't know anything about them going into it. And then the first lesson is like very hands-on, regardless of experience too. Even if they're like, I've been riding my whole life, I can tack up people. I don't always know, I don't know. So
just because you used to ride Western pleasure and you know how to tack up a Western, you might be a little shocked when you're experiencing your first dressage bridle and dressage saddle.
Totally. And it's also it's nerve-wracking. I remember I was like kind of terrified the first time I came here. It's just going into a new barn, a new system, everything, it's just like, it is nerve-wracking. So I am always there at least for the first session, until I make sure, I just want them to know where everything is. I want them to know how we do everything, what the expectation is, so that there's just no, so that they feel confident about it going forward and supported too, right? And it also gives me more time to get to know them initially. So
is that an extra long lesson, or is that really?
It's definitely extra long, because I usually will spend that like first half an hour helping them tack up, and then usually about 30 minutes or so on the lunge line. Again, regardless of experience. I mean, if they get on and within the first 10 minutes lunge line, I'm like, okay, this person can ride, then I will usually take them off and we'll, start kind of doing some other basic things. But with kids, if it's a lunge line, and everyone's different. Some people are on the lunge line for a few months. Some people are on the lunge line for 2 years.
Lunge line lessons are amazing.
They are amazing.
You really can develop your seat and your core, your balance, your confidence.
Yeah, I wish it was a bigger thing. I wasn't, I was on a lunge line lesson when I was like little, like we said, like 3. But I'm like, why isn't this more of a thing? But so we do the lunge line lesson. And then afterwards on that first day too, I'm also there with them to help them untack, show them how to clean the tack, how to put everything away, make sure the blankets are put on correctly. And then I do the turning out of the horses too, as
safety. Yeah,
safety. So students aren't allowed to, they don't bring them in, they don't turn them out. So we do that again, because it's for safety. So when as people progress and they become more and more independent or autonomous, they come in, they get their horse tacked up, they come down to the arena at the start of lesson time. We teach for about 45, 50 minutes, and then they go back up on tack, and that's it. So the rest of my day is usually like bringing horses in and out, making sure they have water, hay, all those things. And then at the end of the day, it's like that backwards reverse housekeeping, making sure the buckets are emptied, making sure everyone's out,
swept up,
make sure the heaters are off, turn the lights off. All those things.
Nice.
And that's my day.
Nice. So that's different experience maybe than other barns.
Yeah, well, definitely. I think at the other barn, I really just went in and taught. Like
Sure.
I didn't do much, which I didn't. Which again didn't really. I didn't feel like I felt like I was an outsider, right?
Sure.
I didn't feel like I was.
You're a little more ingrained here.
Yeah, it feels part of it. Which is sometimes I help feed, like if for whatever reason, like Anne can't be here, or if I have a hole on my schedule, like around that time, so I'll do feed, which I get so
It's fun.
I'm like I get to drive the Kubota.
Yes.
Like, oh my God, yes.
And the horses are like, you're the most amazing person ever because you have all our food.
Yeah. So I love that when I get to do that. It really makes me happy.
Sure. So cool.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything like that you really love here, or anything that you are like, I really don't like how this works, or I think that we could do this as an improvement? And be honest, because Megan's always literally loving to hear feedback on like, maybe there's a way to do. I mean, we have really learned some cool stuff from other people in the short time we've had this channel, and that is what this channel is about: is learning from others and going, oh, it's a great idea.
Yeah.
I wish I would have known that. I would have saved years, or thousands of dollars, or anything like. Yeah. Anything that you're like, this is great. Like, I love her tack up areas. We're obviously we've commandeered one. I think this is quite nice. Versus an aisle.
Yeah. I love all the different I think, is great. I love all of our horses, have their own tack, own brushes. That's definitely not always the case at certain barns. I think
a lot of expense in that.
It's expensive. But we hold our students and ourselves to a pretty high standard. So that helps keep things maintained. So I love that, everything is organized. Megan's done such a great job of curating that. I think the big things that I just think about as in the riding instructor industry. I guess my one thing, so as a mom, like I'm thinking about like financially, right? I think this is something that Meg and I touched on when we have like cancellations or things like that, how difficult that is to like,
it is,
because your horses still have to eat, like, and people don't get, or people will complain about having to pay the cancellation fee. And it's not to fault them. We just don't think like that, right? It's just that, again, they still have to eat. It's just like at restaurants too, like more and more in restaurants now, like if you make a reservation and you cancel, like they're still charging you because they still had to order all, right? And it's becoming, which is good. It should, like, yes, like hold people accountable.
Yeah. But, and respecting your time.
My time, Megan's time, all the administrative work that has to be done for scheduling. So I think for me, and I'm seeing this more and more of a trend in the industry, I'm a sports mom, right? My son's in basketball and swimming and theater and all the things. So with all of those things, it's like tuition based or subscription based. So I pay in advance for the 10-week course or whatever it is. And if we miss a game, that's on us, right? So
let's go down that road. What do you think of this idea? Because I know there have been some farms that have tried this, and we're going to be doing some live streams actually in the month of February. So when you see this, they're probably already done. They're going to be available on our channel. What do you think about lesson packages? You prepay for X number of lessons. You schedule them as you schedule them. And you know what? If you miss it for whatever reason, within whatever the cancellation policy is, that's just a lesson out of your lesson package that's used. Yeah. That way you get reimbursed. Yes. The person who owns, like in this, for instance, Megan would get, her portion to pay for the horse and all the horses, upkeep and things. I think some people get really twitchy about that, and it's kind of a weird way to say it, but that's a horse way of saying it. Like, well, I don't want to prepay for stuff because, then you got all my money in advance. But this is also a way to educate people to be like, well, look, you cancel on me, and you don't want to pay. I still have, as you said, I have all these costs.
Keep the lights on.
As Megan, as farm owner, I have property taxes, and I got to pay the mortgage, and I got to feed the horse, and I got to pay the vet and the farrier, and all the maintenance on the tack. Let's say a stirrup leather broke, I got to buy new stirrup leathers, or got to pay the electric bill.
It's a business.
What do you think of something like that?
I think it's smart. I think that people will become more. Again, I don't bat an eye at having to pay $300 or whatever for basketball, like, you know, like why should it be different for horse riding just because it hasn't been that way? Change is always scary, right?
We need the industry to
change, to grow, so that we can continue to do what we do, because it's obviously really important. There's demand for it. So how do we evolve? So I think that that's something to really, you know, a conversation to keep having, thinking about better ways. I like the idea of like a 4-week package, a 6-week package. That some farms say, you know, because a couple times a year we have a 5-week year. So like in that, if you do it month by month, if it's a 4-week package, and then say someone cancels, you can use those 5 weeks. A
10 lesson package. You get 10 lessons.
10
instead
lessons.
of, you know, or 5 lesson package or 12 lesson package.
And then we could use that a couple extra weeks in the year for makeups if needed, right? If people were, you know, and also like me having people like the first lessons, which we talked about, which are a little longer, like having like an intro lesson should be probably like a little bit more because it's
longer,
more time.
So it should be a little more expensive.
And then the people who commit to locking in a schedule get that like lower rate, right? That regular rate.
That's a great idea.
So just, I think that there's definitely other things that could be done that way to make things easier.
You've given me some ideas.
With my business client, like my landscape, I have people that are like, that have maintenance, you know, monthly maintenance or monthly cleaning, and I charge some of them in advance because
our viewers, think about things like this where this is a perfect example. Start thinking about how things in your regular life that you do that you think nothing of, that's a perfect example. Monthly maintenance package, and think about how, it's not crazy to think about something like that in the equestrian world. No. We definitely feel like 2025, we're on the precipice. There's so much going on in the equestrian world that things need to change. There's so many barns that are closing because people aren't able to make ends meet because customers just don't want to pay it. And then customers are upset because barns are disappearing. But it's like, you got to pay what you got to pay, or you got to get out of the business. Yep. And the barn owners are getting out of the business, and it's freaking people out. But it's like, well, then you need to pay more because rising costs. So thank you. I think we could keep talking, but you've got things you got to do. This has been a great part 4. Love this so much, you guys. Make sure you check out parts 1, 2, and 3. Make sure you're subscribed, click that bell so that you're notified our any new videos we're releasing. Our schedules are Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays right now. And then lots of shorts in between as we can make them. But I really, really appreciate this. This was really awesome to learn more about you. And thank you, Megan, for suggesting this. Megan, while we're doing this, is out in California on location for a few months, training very intensely with her trainer. But I really appreciate this. And thank you guys for watching. We appreciate it. Thanks. We'll see you on our next video. Bye, everybody.
Bye.